And what is our round to watch?
Remember the slogan, "What can Brown do for you?" the UPS said. Well, that's the slogan tonight in round number 5 when Jair Brown and Deontay Brown will battle. For Jair Brown, who's got 23 career TBL wins, his team really needs him to step up tonight as one of those veterans that we talked about.
One of the side stories tonight, Rashidi Ellis trying to become the second member in TBL to get 40 wins. He would need both of them tonight. And the person who researched that for us, and the third member of our broadcast team, Avril Matthews, standing by with a perspective on this Boston team. Go ahead, Avril.
Hi, guys. Yes, I spoke earlier to Boston's coach Rivera. He's well aware of the massive feat that they have in front of them tonight, not just needing to get a win, but by a big point differential. And I asked him how he's feeling about, what kind of confidence he has in his team to get the job done tonight.
We're good. We've been under pressure the whole season. We were supposed to fight Miami at home. We ended up going to Miami last minute. We fought Philly back-to-back. No pressure. We just got to go out there and do what we do. I said it a million times. I think I have one of the best teams in the league, and it's no pressure at all.
He told me that they're coming out aggressive tonight, and he told his fighters, we're not just here to box, we're here to fight tonight.
All right, we will be watching the math all night long as Boston tries to get to +7. The fighters are on their way in. We will soon get to the introductions, and then the season finale. Dallas against Boston will be coming your way. We'll get to that on the other side of this break. Team Boxing League is brought to you by Balance of Nature. In boxing, consistency beats intensity. Balance of Nature supplements help you stay consistent with ingredients of whole foods you can easily slot into your daily routine. Go to balanceofnature.com, use code TEAM, and start today. Well, our final regular season look at the Bellas, but of course the playoffs are right around the corner, and we are excited for what we're going to see straight ahead. Dave Bontempo and Al Bernstein. And you know, Al, when you talk about you have to win by 7, I think it could be something that makes the fighters a little bit anxious when you have to worry about a margin.
Yeah, it really does, and could even alter what they do a little bit. There's a fighter tonight fighting for Boston, Thomas Blumenfeld, who in their last match was trying to get a knockout to help his team win. Really threw caution to the wind, got knocked down twice by Ryan Pino because you walked into a couple left hooks. They want to avoid that if they can.
If you have to make up 7 points, the start is very important. Let's go inside and meet the fighters with Ray Flores.
Welcome to the new generation of high-impact, non-stop action. This is Team Boxing League, where every round is the last round, and every fighter leaves it all inside the ring. Each moment of TBL season airs live on MSG Networks, Envoy TV, Spanish language coverage available on Estrella TV, along with Spectrum Sportsnet, Sportsnet Pittsburgh, and also New England Sports Network. Welcome to the Wicopa Casino Resort here in Fort McDowell, Arizona. For tonight's Week 16 matchup between the Boston Butchers and Dallas Enforcers. We would like to extend our sincere appreciation to Steve Newport and the Yakima Nation Athletic Commission, Wicopa Casino Resort General Manager Harold Baggis, along with our fine sponsors, Climax Moonshine, Fire Number 32, Balance of Nature, Serenity Springs Recovery Center, HotelPlanner.com, all for helping to make tonight's event possible. Your referees in charge of the action all evening long are Joel Scobie and Mark Reyes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Boston Butchers.
Talked about the Butchers before, have lost 3 in a row, and a little surprise to them when they got beat by Atlanta, which saved Atlanta's season. So you can see how everything changes quickly. 7 is their biggest margin when they beat Nashville, 17-10.
They just barely failed against New York, and that is what prevented them from locking in a playoff spot before.
Some new faces on this Boston team tonight. We'll
The head
talk about
coach
that.
of the Boston Butchers is renowned trainer Alex Rivera. Here is the starting lineup for the Butchers. Bantamweight, Nayusha Najiri. Lightweight, Herbrew Francois. Welterweight, Thomas Blumenfeld. 2020 Olympian representing the Dominican Republic. Lightweight, Alexia De La Cruz. Current WBC U.S. Silver Champion, Super Welterweight, Jaye Golden Child Brown. Current WBC Silver Champion, ranked number 2 in the world by the WBO, 15th by the WBC. He's a 2-time TBL All-Star and most exciting fighter, middleweight Rashidi Speedy Ellis. Heavyweight Michael Coffey. Featherweight Camila Panetta. Welterweight Javon Biss. Super middleweight Edwin Humey. Light heavyweight Miguel Franza Diaz. And heavyweight Skylar Lacey. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Boston Butchers. And now presenting the Dallas Enforcers.
Well, the Enforcers not only have fans in Dallas, but a lot in New York tonight. The attitude rooting heavily for this team to keep it close. There you see Osin Dairo, one of the charismatic leaders of this Dallas squad. And we see across the league, night by night, fighters are happy to get their faces in front of the spotlight and enjoy what the moment is.
Yeah, and we saw Houston, even with the playoff berth not on the line, perform well and compete. And I'm sure Dallas will do the same.
Houston kept Nashville out, so well enough to do that.
The head coach of the Dallas Enforcers, former Texas super middleweight champion, Tony T-Mac. Here is the starting lineup for the Enforcers. Bantamweight Marihuana Velinga. Lightweight Malik Mualork. Welterweight Jesus Vasquez. Lightweight Jack the Demon Zambi Aku. Welterweight Deontay Brown. Middleweight Dewan Johnson. Heavyweight Steven Gorola. Featherweight Michaela Rampage. Super middleweight Mauricio King. And former three-time Golden Gloves champion and Team USA member Ambibola Space Osan Dairo. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. We ask that you all please rise if you're able to. Here to perform the Star-Spangled Banner is Aliza.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Aliza with the singing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to begin the launch rounds between Boston and Dallas. We begin the action at 118 pounds for Boston, Nayusha Nakjiri. Dallas, Mariguen Velinga.
Mary Fearless Velinga came out of a foster program as a child, had a severe mountain climbing injury requiring surgery. She got past that, took a fitness boxing class, then got into boxing, became a great amateur, very good professional, and then started Rise Boxing in Utah, where people between 7 and 70 years old get on these fitness and boxing programs, and the slogan is, how will you rise? So this is somebody who is not taking no for an answer in her life.
No, remarkable woman, and she's in a battle right now. Nakiri, who is a 29-year-old who has been a fine amateur representing Canada in international competitions and a pro now since 2024. She looks like her and Velinga are going to have a real throwdown right here. They're both bouncing right hands off each other.
Yeah, they both come out of good amateur backgrounds, and then all the credentials that you mentioned as Velinga gets in a right hand. Here's how the scoring goes, and will be really significant tonight. 1 point for a decision, 2 points for a knockdown, 3 points if you get 2 knockdowns, 4 if you can go all the way and get the knockout. And many fighters get the short circuit route, put on the pressure, get the referee to stop it, and that's the most desired route to 4. So in a night where math will be constant here, anything big in terms of those bonus points will be magnified.
Nakiri has really found a home for that right hand, but so is Valinga from time to time. And Valinga, who's taught the toughest competition in TBL, Jury Rodriguez and Haniti Tuatupu among them, and you know, now in against a newcomer to TBL, but still a very good fighter.
Yeah, and both of the fighters can look at this and say it's winnable. And so it's Valinga with the height and reach, and her opponent trying to get inside and negate that.
Yeah, Nakiri is 1-2 in the TBL, but hasn't fought this season. All 3 of her TBL fights were in season 3. Now, she normally fights below 118, maybe around 114, but in TBL, she's been fighting at 118. She's having a pretty good first round, I think. Valinga has done some good things as well, but it seems like more of the volume and landing punches are coming from her. But there's a great combination by Valinga.
Yeah, and close enough that one good combination or spurt could turn it around. You see that good couple of shots that Valinga takes. And I think they both sense that they have to finish strong. You just never know. We saw a slew of split decisions over the weekend up till now, so you can never say to yourself, I know I'm winning.
Yeah, that's for sure. And a couple of strong jabs from Nakiri right at the end. And yeah, this one's not going to be, I don't think, a wide margin. Now, here's both of them landing right hands early in the round. Then Nakiri seemed to get hers untracked and mixed in the left hook as well, and did some good combination punching to boot. So there was the middle portion of that round, Nakiri kind of took control.
TBL fans, the winner of round 1 by way of split decision. From the Boston Butchers, Nayusha Najiri.
We thought that would be close going in, and it certainly was. So Boston gets 1. And here's another one that we thought would be close.
Round 2 at lightweight, Boston Herbrou Francois, Dallas Malik Samar Lark.
Francois has won 3 in a row, including 2 over Francisco Rodriguez and 1 over Joseph Adorno. Interestingly, he beat Rodriguez twice after losing to him twice, so that signals an upward arc.
And Malik Lark always in good fights. He has to be. He was part of Dave's corner, was he not?
It was a blue-collar corner honoree, and he has lived up to that ever since then.
He has indeed. 9-5 record this year, and he's shown power. Knockdown of Sebastian Vasquez. He TKO'd Diego Dominguez. So Malik Clark has shown why he's one of Dallas's top guys. And Francois, you hit it on the head, Dave. He's been arcing up and fighting pretty well, really, as this season has progressed.
Lark 26-10, and you know, so these are guys we figured both coming in, riding pretty well. Like would be close coming in.
I'm sorry. You see Francois with that good hand speed and combination from the outside. He wants to keep it right there. He doesn't want Lark getting on the inside and turning this into more of a rumble. Lark has a really good left hook, which he'll try to land, and that overhand right as well.
Jab by Francois. So real tactical warfare here, as you've outlined. Lark doing his thing, trying to get inside. Francois hoping to keep the jab at a good range for him and keep the fight outside.
Francois from Haiti originally, and now living in Florida. He is 6-2 in pro ranks outside of TBL, and he fought February of this year. Lost a majority decision to Alex Vega, but we've pointed out, we've seen on this circuit, he has really improved his overall technique and everything. And
big shot. He's improved it. He got dropped. He walked into a right hand, and how huge is that now? An extra point for Dallas. Lark the Shark. And now if he parlays this, it will be a disaster for Boston.
Lark has, as we said, has a knockout this year. That's his second knockdown, so he's powerful.
Huge right hand from Lark. Turned the fight around. It looked very close at that point.
Yeah, you could almost make a case Francois was controlling the action, but
yes,
Lark just used his power there. And now look how smart Lark is, kind of using some movement, making sure he doesn't give up anything, and he makes sure at least he gets out of this with a 2-point win. And Francois desperate to try and make something happen.
So for Boston now, you have your first nightmare, as they'll go down one. Yeah, just good team boxing. Francois doing well, and then one moment.
Yeah, Francois had controlled the round and almost didn't go down, but he was stunned by that punch. There's no question about that, and his knee hit. Overhand right by Lark. We mentioned that in the left hook. He's got power in both hands. Second knockdown of the year for him, and he's got a knockout to go along with it. So that young man is going to get his 10th win this season.
Of round 2 by way of unanimous decision. 2 points going to the Dallas Enforcers, Malik Samar Lark.
All right, so Lark puts Dallas up 2-1. That puts
round
more pressure on Blumenfeld.
Boston, Thomas Blumenfeld. Dallas, Jesus Vasquez.
We saw Blumenfeld in his first fight last week, and he looked really good, racking up a decision. They'd beaten also Isaiah Johnson of Philadelphia, which was quite an accomplishment. But then, as you referenced at the top of the show, toward the end, he tried to get the extra points, and he got dropped.
Walked into a left hook from Ryan Pino, who he had beaten in the first round, and at times looked like he was almost on the verge of knocking Pino down, and instead he got hit by the left hook, and he got dropped the second time. So here he is in almost the same spot, right? He knows his team went down a point. They're looking at that magic number of winning by 7. How much of a chance does he take? He is by nature an aggressive fighter, and Jesus Vasquez Jr., who's 2-2 this season, would like to find one of those counter punches to hit him with.
All right, and as they go at it, Avril is standing by with a special guest.
I'm here ringside with Michaela Rampage from Team Dallas. 5'11" female in just 126 pounds. Have you ever faced anyone taller than you?
No, I haven't faced anyone taller than me. I've sparred one girl that's taller than me, but she was like in the 165-pound weight class, if that is.
Wow, so talk to me about how do you use your height to your advantage?
I try to stay long, and I try to blast my two, and I worked on my jab and try to make my jab just as strong as my two. So when I jab from the outside, it's just as effective.
Well, I can't wait to see it. You're up against a tough opponent in Camila Pinata tonight. Guys, take us back to the ring.
All right, so halfway through this important round 3 for Boston, trailing now 2-1, and Thomas Blumenfeld in a firefight with Jesus Vasquez.
Yeah, and that's what he's always in. Good combination there by Vasquez. Blumenfeld is a good pressure fighter, but you know, he's been a little more tactical in this one, hasn't he? And not rushing and not bull rushing.
Well, after being dropped in his last round that he fought, you can understand a little bit of the caution. This guy's 12-0 outside of TBL and 4 first-round knockouts, so he's been able to start quickly at times, and came out like a house of fire for Boston, like a major find. And he's one of the guys now they're hoping can step up, but Vasquez trading with him.
Yeah, and you know, Blumenfeld's been kind of caught in between. He's at his best when he gets right on your chest and he's whacking you with right to the body and left hands, but he hasn't been able to quite get there all through the round. Vasquez has done a pretty good job of keeping him at bay. Oh, beautiful shots by Blumenfeld, though.
Here comes Blumenfeld trying to follow up on that.
And Vasquez has 2 wins this year over a lefty, Manny Sangroni, and of course he's facing a lefty in Blumenfeld. Interesting round.
Blumenfeld backing him up. Has done pretty well in the final 40 seconds of this. Blocks a few shots there. All right, so they gave it a good run, both of them.
Blumenfeld on the inside, but taking some counter punches by Vasquez. That was a period where Vasquez landed some good counter punches. That was the big straight left hand that Blumenfeld landed about 2/3 into the round, and that made Vasquez think for a moment. But Blumenfeld didn't rush in like we would normally see him do. We'll see. This could be a close decision.
TBL fans, the winner of round 3 by way of unanimous decision from the Dallas Enforcers, Jesus Vasquez.
All right, so pressure comes on this Boston team very quickly.
4 at lightweight, Boston Alexi De La Cruz, Dallas Jack Benzoy Zambiaku.
Very important fight, I think, emotionally for the Boston team coming up, as De La Cruz 9-0 outside of TBL, 11-2 in it. And yeah, this is a guy that now they're down by 3-1 in a fight they have to win by a lot. And he goes up against Zambiaku.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a terrific debut season. His only loss to Yostiel Napolis, who is, of course, one of the, as you see him right there, one of the best fighters in the league and in the lightweight division. But De La Cruz has produced a lot of points this year.
And the second time we see a Boston fighter drilled by a right hand, and De La Cruz comes back. The long, powerful left hand is a good signature shot for him, but it does not come without risk.
Well, Zambiaku has a good right hand. You know, he's had a little bit of a difficult season. He's 3-6 this year. He was 9-5 in season 3. So Zambiaku was expected to have a better year this year, right? When we watched him earlier, we thought he could be a star this year. And it's been a little tougher for him, but boy, he's a dangerous fighter to be in the ring against.
This is a bit of a boxing version of home run derby, as they're both lining up their big shots. It's the hard, long left hand from De La Cruz and that very precise right hand from Zambiaku.
You talked about Rashidi Ellis maybe reaching 40 wins tonight. The first fighter that ever did that, Rasheed Brown, De La Cruz has 2 wins over him this season. So that shows you how good a year he's had.
Yeah, becoming a quiet leader for this Boston team. And they need him right now, as they're down 2, and now they really have a deficit of 9 to get to, considering the 7 coming in, and that will help. That will help Boston a lot, as De La Cruz gets 1 back. And now is a chance to at least even this for Boston. We talked about him being a quiet leader. He just did a lot for his team there, and what happens in that final minute.
And you know, I don't think that round was going that well for De La Cruz. He'd been hit with a lot of right hands by Zambiaku, and there's another one by Zambiaku, but that knockdown will help him if he can stay upright for the rest of this round.
Exactly what we talked about, the big shots coming from each fighter.
Now, if you're De La Cruz, you are by nature a boxer. So if you want to play the 4-corner offense for the rest of this round, you at least have the equipment to do that, and that is what he's doing.
He can get Boston even, and he can turn that 9 back into a 7, still in the launch rounds. I mean, you can always take the chance if you think something is there, but he's pretty much acting like I'm good right now. I'll take my 2.
And I think he knew Sambiaco wasn't badly hurt when he knocked him down.
And so De La Cruz doing a good little job of keep away. And we'll see them 2 more times.
Yeah, and landing some pretty good jabs as well. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun rivalry during the course of this evening, isn't it? And here's where the left hand, I believe, well, you know, it landed more in the shoulder, but it was a punch.
Yes, it did.
And you know, there's no law that says you need to land in the head to knock him down. You know, he landed on the shoulder, knocked him off balance, and it's a knockdown. And Sambiaco, of course, distressed, and then kind of nodding, yeah, okay, I get it. It was a knockdown.
TBL fans, the winner of round 4 by way of unanimous decision. 2 points going to the Boston Butchers, Alexei De La Cruz.
So De La Cruz gets Boston even at least 3-3. Boston has to win by 7. It is a total 3-3 tie so far after 4 rounds. Beautiful scenery in Arizona, and we'll be back with more boxing after this. The Lost Dutchman and the Superstition Mountains. Arizona with some beautiful scenery to show us and a very good fight. So far, 3-3 between between Dallas and Boston. Let's go inside and pick it up.
Round 5 at super welterweight. Boston, J.A. Brown. Dallas, Deontay Brown.
Well, now to play off what you said earlier, both teams are saying, what can Brown do for me? J.A. Brown, 24-12, 27-year-old from Schenectady, New York. Longest win streak is 7. And he's lost 3 to Jason Moreno. Longest losing streak is 5. Comes off a nice win over Lasha Gugliani. Snapped a 5-fight losing streak.
And Deontay Brown's a solid fighter who doesn't have a glittering record, but he can fight. And he's going to be in there giving J.A. Brown plenty to think about.
Yeah, in his last batch of fights, although he's 1-4, the one came against Charles Garner of San Antonio, who was a good fighter. So tries to land a right hand. Well, we can't be wrong. If we say Brown lands a right hand,
exactly.
We have it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Brown of Dallas and Brown of Boston.
Good right hand getting in a moment ago from J.A. Brown. And he's another of the fighters that at Boston is relying to step up, because they brought a few newcomers in here to see in the middle rounds. One of the newcomers already has a win up at the top, so that worked out well. That rolled the dice for Boston.
J.A. Brown is a tactical fighter. You know, this year he's 7-6. That's not his best year because he's had better seasons in the TBL. But even though he's tactical, he finds a way to do enough more often to win. And his nemesis has been Jason Moreno, who beat him 4 times. So 4 of those losses he has were against Jason Moreno of the 6.
And having seen the surge in Jason Moreno in the last year and change, you can understand that.
It's a close round here in the first 2 minutes. Both men have had their moments. Neither has been able to sustain offense that much.
So if you're doing the math and you break it down, you know, segment by segment, you need to win each by 2 and then one of them by 3 if you start trying to, you know, really crunch it down for Boston. But we're even now in this one.
And Brown, you see him coming forward in the last part of this. It's not his nature to be a hunter necessarily, more of a counterpuncher, but he knows what the situation is, and he's going to have to try and create some offense to make sure. And Deontay Brown switching to lefty, which we hadn't seen in this round before.
It's a good right hand by Jaye Brown as Deontay Brown tried to land a left-hand bomb in there.
Yeah, he cranked up the left hook.
Not sure either fighter is totally content that he did enough to convince the judges.
Yeah, and some a little testiness at the end, which we saw from Sambiaku and De La Cruz as well. And overhand right there by Jaye Brown. Deontay Brown firing back. I think Deontay Brown was mad about being hit behind the head, and then some histrionics at the end between these two fighters.
They're scheduled to go at it again.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of
round 21.
round 5 by way of unanimous decision from Boston, Jaye Brown.
Boston has its second lead of the night.
They're not going to be invited to any cocktail
Round
parties
6
together.
at middleweight, Boston,
kind of agree.
Rashidi Ellis.
All right, this is
Dewan Johnson.
interesting part here. Does Rashidi Ellis try for bonus points for his team? Boston up 1. He's won 10 in a row after a loss to Giovanni Estella. Before that, he won 9 in a row. Just came off of 2 wins against Justin Figueroa. Now, this is interesting. Figueroa was a 14-0 fighter outside TBL. He beat him, and now he's fighting an 18-0 pro outside of TBL. So really a battle of the platforms, and you see that Rashidi Ellis has been in a class of his own.
Yeah, in this format, he is virtually unbeatable. 4 losses and 38 wins.
However, well, let's go. Now we've got the, you know, you're talking about the wins. We talk about, can he get the extra points? Here we go.
That is uncharacteristic. He doesn't score knockdowns early in rounds like that.
And now, Rashidi Ellis tried to put a major exclamation point for Boston. Somebody has to surge on this team to reach 7, and they are both going for everything.
Rashidi Ellis, you feel like another one of those right hands is so close to landing.
If Boston would get 1 knockout at this point, they could almost say to themselves, we can fight the rest of the night almost even and get this.
Yeah, you know, Johnson had a 4-year layoff before he came back on June 20th, just a month ago, and won in a 1-round knockout win. So he hasn't been the most active fighter, and there might be a little of that showing here.
Ellis with a good pounding right hand and the uppercut. And we've seen with the short electricity of his punches, even though he boxes, he's got a hard and a hard jab and a hard right hand, even if he hasn't been dropping people, and tonight he did.
Yeah, he's not a big knockout artist here in this platform, but he does have knockouts in his regular pro boxing career, 19, and he can put people down and out, and he had Johnson down.
Rashidi Ellis making 2 consecutive opponents who are 32-0 outside TBL look like they're in a different place than him. He's like one of the masters of TBL.
And these men are scheduled for later, so even if Rashidi Ellis doesn't get a knockout, You know, we've seen it before where that leads to a knockout in the second round that they fight when you've hurt an opponent. And he has had Johnson stunned in addition to the knockdown.
So Rashidi Ellis gives Boston its second knockdown in 3 fights. And so Boston, 2 of its biggest performers, we talked about it at the top of the show, have come through big in the launch rounds. That's the hand speed that you love to see from Ellis. The big right hand didn't do it, but he sensed the opportunity, kept the left hand in behind that, and got that bonus point.
Yeah, and that hook right behind it is what ended up creating the knockdown.
TBL fans, the winner of round 6 by way of unanimous decision. 2 points going to the Boston Butchers, Rashidi Ellis.
All right, so Ellis gives Boston its biggest lead, and here's the finale of
our final
the launch
round in the heavyweight division. Boston, Michael Coffey. Dallas, Steven Garola.
Steven Garola, the entertainer, comes from a platform called Dirty Boxing, in which you can get right up tight and you do all the things you can't do in traditional boxing. The short uppercuts, you're right up in close range, and he continues to bring that kind of pressure every time he fights. And he's a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, and you have to meet fire with him, and you see there that, you know, he as you say, in the dirty boxing format, you're going to hold, you can even do elbows. There's a lot that goes on there. And for a big guy like Michael Coffey, a 40-year-old who's been involved in major fights, fought Fabio Wardley in England, 2023, who became world champion. And Coffey had good moments in that fight. He's a capable fighter, but he's facing somebody with an awkward, crazy style who has just a lot of girth, and you're going to have to discourage him.
Yeah. If you told Garola he's the dirtiest fighter, he would be happy. Now, what are they calling here? A knockdown. He walks into something. Opportunity continuing to knock here.
And that's a veteran taking advantage of this inexperienced in boxing young man and showing us that all that experience means something.
Yeah, Garola was having an exceptionally good round.
And you feel like Coffey's sizing him up again to see if he can land something that's going to send him backwards again.
That's a huge development up and down the lineup for Boston, because that's something they probably didn't expect. They were happy to get it.
Yeah, I think they thought Coffey could potentially win this fight, but I don't know that they were anticipating for sure getting some kind of extra points here.
And it's a massive turnaround because Garola was doing exactly what he wants. So even if it ends up being +2, you could argue that it's really a 3-point turnaround if it finishes this way. But Garola, there you go, right up in front.
And Garola's still doing good work, but now so is Coffey. Garola has won the majority of this round, but the knockdown and a couple of other big shots from Coffey, the knockdown's clearly the difference. And I wouldn't, you know, Coffey's landing the kind of punches that even with 30 seconds left might create another knockdown if he has time.
We promised it would be entertaining with Garola, and he has brought it to Coffey, who has maximized his punching opportunities.
Good straight left hand by Coffey. He switched to lefty, and that helped him. And they're going to fight again, so this is, or no, they will not. Garola will be fighting a different heavyweight the next time out. Michael Coffey, the 40-year-old veteran, being pressured by Steven Garola, and there lands the uppercut on the inside and sends him sprawling. Body shot, actually. Intriguing.
3 knockdowns in the last 4 fights for Boston.
TBL fans, the winner of round 7 by way of unanimous decision. 2 points going to the Boston Butchers, Michael Kofi.
So power explosion in 3 fights for Boston has changed the tenor of this and given them hope for sure to make that 7-point victory a reality potentially. We got a long way to go. And what about this coming up? Dave Bontempo is going to tell you.
Thanks, Al. We are enjoying this frantic playoff push, and we take a look at the brackets and we see what's on the line for these teams. Well, one team is sitting pretty up at the top. That is the Philadelphia Smoke, and they will host the number 8 team on July 26th. It will be a home match for the undefeated Philadelphia Smoke. San Antonio and Phoenix getting ready to rock, and you see all the other matchups, some of them not quite decided yet. They will be soon, but that's ahead. What's straight ahead is the AL Awards, and we'll get right to that. We've had an explosive turnaround now with the Boston Butchers up 8-3. It has been a special run for them. I know something else that's special. It is time for the AL Awards. Season-long winners as decided by Al Bernstein. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the AL Awards. Dave Bontempo and the man in charge of it all, Al Bernstein. We also will call it the Al Academy Awards, presented like that because we've got envelopes and we've got an official presentation. So, Al, tell us immediately, though, explain the AL Awards.
Well, obviously, the Team Boxing League is going to give its official awards out this season, but I just came up with several categories that I felt needed some recognition.
All right, and let's go to the first one. Do you like explosions? I do. It's the round of the year.
All right, the envelope, please. There we go. Let's see who it is. It is Mr. Luis Ortiz for his June 14th fight, a knockout in his second TBL match. The power-punching Ortiz made an immediate impact, sending Edward Mallard down early and then repeating it. But Mallard would return the favor, and a stunned Ortiz still rose and ended things for good to make quite a statement in his second TBL fight and put the TBL on notice, King Kong was here.
And he's going to be a big factor, Al, in this Miami playoff run. They were very happy to get him.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times with these teams, when they get have a chance to secure someone, especially in the second half of the season, that they know will help them in the playoff runs, they want to do it, and that's what they did with Ortiz.
Well, we saw power. How about consistency on an unprecedented level? The category is Streak of the Year for a team.
All right, the envelope. Here we go. And the winner is the LA Elite. Now, they are known as a team that can get hot early in a match, but against the Dallas Enforcers on June 6th, they took it to extreme. Starting with Lizette Lopez, 13 fighters marched to victory and posted 20 points. It included a knockdown and a stoppage, and dominant decision wins from both men and women throughout the streak. And then heavyweight Jonathan Rice would enter the scene, and he would put an exclamation point on it with a TKO win. 13 wins, 20 points produced that led them to a big victory over the Dallas Enforcers.
And not just a random occasion, because we've seen LA in a lot of fights get off to great starts.
That is their specialty, and that could be a thing that might differentiate them a little bit in the playoffs.
Okay, the drum roll. We have
here
our
we go.
final one. And, you know, there are a lot of rivalries. This one was a tough one. We call this one the rivalry of the year.
All right, let's see who may have won it.
Okay.
Hey, you're peeking. No peeking by Dave Bontempo.
I had a little something on it.
I know, here we go. All right, the winner is light heavyweights Yolanda Martinez and Rico Santana. They had a 4-fight rivalry that topped the rest. Martinez, in the midst of an 11-2 debut season in the TBL, had pitched battles with Santana, who, by the way, was the league MVP in Season 3. Every match had crisp, exciting exchanges, and all 4 were razor-thin split decisions. Martinez would come away with 3 of the wins, but these two men are very likely to see each other in the playoffs.
Well, congratulations to all the Al Awards winners. We are hearing next year tuxedos and also nominations in the male and female vocalist categories among those that, and you would be a great person to judge.
I agree. We're going to emulate the Tony Awards in that department.
That's right. Very fun segment and a lot of fun to do. Now, how did Boston get up 8-3 after that slow start? Let's take you through the journey via the highlights. After Boston led 1-0, turbulence came about because in the second fight, Malik Lark dropping his opponent and giving a big shot to Boston, 2 points.
And then Alexi De La Cruz, who's been a super performer for Boston, gets a chance there and does some good.
So now Boston's back in it and up a little bit. You go to your big gun. Rashidi Ellis, perhaps the heart and soul of this team, and comes through when they need it most. An extra point via the knockdown. Great left hook and good right hands, and he's able to drop it, put it in the holster for Boston.
And then the third fight in which a knockdown helped Boston came when Steven Garola was putting a lot of pressure on veteran Michael Coffey, but Coffey responded, put Garola down, and has Boston rolling into the middle rounds.
So as we go into the middle rounds now, Boston having to feel very good about its accomplishments here. And for the middle rounds, what is our round to watch?
I'm so glad we picked this because we're going to look at round number 9 with Alexi De La Cruz and Jack Sambiaku. They were having a terrific match, and then De La Cruz scored a flash knockdown, but Sambiaku had done excellent work at that point, and Sambiaku was annoyed because he didn't even think it was a knockdown. They're going to have a pitched battle in their next one.
Okay, Boston up 5, needs 7. The Butchers can taste it. Let's go inside for the middle rounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to begin the middle rounds between the Boston Butchers and Dallas Enforcers. Round 8, at bantamweight, Boston, Ayusha Nakjiri. Dallas, Mariguana Velinga.
Okay, a rematch of round one, very close one, going to Boston. Who sets the tone here as we start the middle rounds?
That was the first TBL match this season for Nakiri. She had minimal experience before, but in TBL in any case, but she's an experienced amateur fighter, as we detailed, and a pro as well.
And one of the three fighters that Boston took a chance on here. We'll get to the other two in the middle rounds, which would be very significant, and already paying dividends for the newcomer. And she'd take the spot previously held by Christina Cruz, who, going back to 2021, had a couple of pro victories against Velinga. So really, there she comes up here in a fight that we thought would be very even, and she did very well.
Yeah, and Christina Cruz, of more Velinga's generation. Velinga's a 44-year-old vet. Obviously, Nakiri is younger, and they both had similar experiences because they had good amateur backgrounds. It's been mostly Nakiri as the aggressor. Velinga has been kind of boxing from the outside, trying to keep her at bay. Nakiri's right hand has made a difference, and she's landed some good left hooks as well.
And she timed that right hand very well. There's the patience of a good amateur boxer, waiting to set up the shot, not rushing it. And then she was able to drop that right hand over the top.
A lot of feinting also from Nakiri. In her experience, you know, early on in the pro game, she's had enough pro fights to kind of show that she's savvy in that respect as well. She's 5-0 as a pro, and she's had good head movement against Velinga.
And sometimes she'll move that head to the left and then drag that right hand along behind it from a unique angle and score with it, all in one fluid motion.
Velinga has, you know, just not been able to get offense going in this round, missing with a lot of shots. She did a better job offensively in the first round these two women fought. And it hasn't been a wild offensive display by Nakiri either, but she has done more, I think.
And Nakiri has been more elusive in this round. She changed her style.
Yes. Very good point, Dave. She became a little bit more of a boxer. Her edge and hand speed right now over Velinga is a key in this fight.
So at this point, it looks like Nakiri very smart to put her trust into this different style. First fight, very close. This fight, hard to argue with her getting the call after that good boxing display.
Yeah, you would think in some ways she did less of the bombastic offense as she did in parts in the first fight, but was very effective as a boxer puncher. And there you see some of the ways she made Velinga miss. And she sprinkled in enough offense. You see that. That's just good defense. And then what does she do? She comes back with a nice little combination punctuated by an overhand right.
So she made it a lower scoring affair. Will she be rewarded?
Unanimous decision from the Boston Butchers,
She will.
Ayusha Nakjiri.
All right, now we go back to a flash point. This was the knockdown that Dallas
Round
had.
9 and lightweight, Boston Alexia de la Cruz, Dallas Jack Benzoy Zambiaku.
So you have two thoughts here when you're the Boston fighters. One, you want to get over the top for that 7, and two, just avoid anything dramatic that makes you dig so much to get out of this hole.
And, you know, a key point is that Zambiaku did some really good offensive work in that round against De La Cruz, and they weren't too happy with each other right at the end. So Zambiaku is fired up to get another shot here at De La Cruz. We'll see how that plays out in all this.
De La Cruz with the knockdown that brought Boston right back into it. They were trailing 3-1 at the time, and that was a crucial development for this team. If you're down 7 and all of a sudden you're also down 3 or 4 to start the night, that is difficult on you, but he brought them back to even and set up the fireworks that followed.
De La Cruz, a very skilled boxer, is using that in this round, trying to keep Sambiaco at bay with his jab. Oh, wow, Sambiaco cranked up a couple pretty good left hooks there. And he has both a good left hook and a right hand. And there's the left hand from Cruz, which has been so vital for him.
Big left hand of Cruz, which produced a knockdown in their first battle. Now, they're set for 3 tonight, and you get the sense that they'll also be jawboning after that one.
Yes, boy, are you right. Sambiaco from Angola, but lives in Chicago and trains out of the Taylor Park Gym, where many, many years ago I used to train.
I heard about that, and I'm waiting for the name to go up on the billboard.
So you heard the legend, huh?
And I think that now that the AL awards are out there, I think that a lot of people are going to take more notice of that.
My brief and microscopic amateur boxing career. So here's the thing about Cruz. He's putting together his punches pretty well. Sambiaco's landing the occasional power shot, but it's Cruz with the combination punching and the good movement. So we'll see what the judges are going to like here.
They're both loading up. Even the heads have come together. Definitely a spirited and pitched battle, as each fighter doing what brought him here. The right hands by Sambiaco, and the big left hand by De La Cruz lands another good one behind the jab, and that was a sweet combination.
Well, this is vintage De La Cruz, showing good movement and yet still mixing in some power punches. And he has mostly befuddled Sambiaco in this round, more so than the last one, I think.
We're seeing more of the jab setting up the left hand in this round by De La Cruz rather than the big shot. And he's been able to land his bigger shots without having to trade all the time.
And it has set up the straight left, and they're more amiable after this round than the last one, interestingly. There's a good right hand by Sambiaco. He did land some of those and some hooks as well. But here's where De La Cruz showed the hand speed edge that he had. And he would land some nice straight left hands. That one blocked, but he got a bunch of men like that one. And he had a good round for himself.
TBL fans, the winner of round 9 by way of unanimous decision. From the Boston Butchers, Alexia De La Cruz.
All right, so Boston, which once trailed 3-1, has reeled off 9 consecutive points.
Featherweight, Boston, Camila Panetta.
And for the moment, since we're doing all the math,
Rampage.
at the moment, Boston is in the playoffs. We'll see how that goes and how many different times that may go up and down in the course of the night. But they've reached 7.
Yeah, which is a key point. So they at least know they can get to that point. And we'll see how it goes. Rampage and Panetta is an interesting fight because Panetta has been at the height of women's boxing, fighting for a world championship against Caroline Dubois, but has lost 4 straight here in the TBL. And she lost her last 2 pro fights, Dubois, and then a fight after that against Miranda Reyes. So she hasn't tasted victory for a while, and she really wants to try and do that.
So Averill is with the heart and soul of this Boston team, as we described earlier. Rashidi Ellis, go ahead.
I am, guys, here ringside with Rashidi Ellis. Rashidi, I always see you in phenomenal performances, but tonight you shifted to another gear. Talk to me about what happened in there.
I had to switch that gear because, you know, right today I'm trying to make history, my 40th win. And if I get, now I got 2 points. If I get 3 more points, I got the most points this season, and I get the most wins. So making history, baby.
And so you have 7 first-round KOs. I did my research on you outside of TBL in regular pro boxing. Are we going to get that KO power tonight?
Yes. I almost got him the first round, but this time I'm going to get him.
I saw that body work. You were setting it up for later. That was nice.
Say too much. I'm gonna get the next round. No, I'm gonna get that body work in.
All right, we'll take us back to the ring, guys.
All right, so that Rashidi Ellis was the first fighter to help Boston start to pull away, and he's looking forward to another opportunity. Here, it's the women waging war.
And obviously the height and reach for Rampage was always an issue for her opponents, but Panada has been able to get on the inside and work the body and land things like that overhand right hook. She's facing a 4-inch height and 8-inch reach disadvantage, Panada, but she's managed that.
It's so many different ways to get inside that big reach advantage. We see the bobbing and the weaving, and other times you just step closer, and if your opponent doesn't punch, you're there.
A good left hand landed by Rampage a moment ago, but she's had a hard time landing those big counter punches. And she's 1-3 this season, Rampage, but she's coming in off a win over Kellyanne Knight, in which she did use her height and reach very effectively.
One thing that's happening here is Panada, veteran skills, has just gotten in there and knows when Rampage is going to punch and tries to punch a split second ahead of her.
Yeah, very good point. And it's because she's got that experience as both a professional and an amateur. And she's been in there against the top fighters at 34, a veteran of women's boxing.
So will Boston get a cushion in its quest for 7 or more?
Here is Rampage. She landed a pretty nice right hand there. That was about in the middle of the round. But the right hook of Panada got in a little bit, and Rampage was able to land from the outside from time to time, but Panada also got in and did good work to the body and that right hook. We'll see what the judges think.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 10 by way of unanimous decision from the Dallas Enforcers, Michaela Rampage.
So height and reach wins out. And back to a 6-point lead. And New York City back in the playoffs.
At welterweight, Boston, Javon Bess. Dallas, Jesus Vasquez.
At best, 36 years old, 8-0 outside of TBL, 2-7 in TBL. Has won 2 of 3, Lionel Santana and very good Henry Cedeno, who was 21-7 at that time. So it's there for him.
And Jesus Vasquez getting that win the last time earlier this evening against Blumenfeld, that put him over the 500 mark at 3-2. And going into that, Vasquez is a solid fighter. He and Bess, I think, should be a good matchup, even though Bess doesn't have a fantastic record, 2-7 this season, but he's shown us flashes.
If the best that showed up against Cedeno shows up tonight, he would be difficult to beat. Good jab and right hand by Bess. But every fight now with this type of playoff type scenario hanging overhead, each fight becomes a mini drama.
Absolutely. Bess is not a wild attacker, so this kind of, oh, nice right though by Bess. This kind of tactical fight for him is what he normally tries to do, and he's got Vasquez kind of in that, but we'll see if Vasquez can ramp up the pressure a little.
And Bess is trying to get him to walk into a big right hand. He's thinking nothing but the big stuff, and then he dropped his left hand and got caught.
Yeah, Bess has landed his jab very well and has snuck in a couple of those nice right hands. So from the outside, he maybe has a slight edge over Vasquez, who wants to be at the mid-range. Maybe not fighting right off your chest, but at mid-range, he's a little bit better fighter.
Good right hand by Bess behind the jab. He's pretty pretty good stylistically with that tonight.
And, you know, we know Best is 8-0 outside of TBL, and so, you know, he's got, he clearly is a fighter who can fight, and that win that you referenced over Cedeno proved it. And 3 of the men he's lost to have over 20 TBL wins, so he's been facing some tough opposition. Good right hand by Best.
Best moving, looking to set something up. Vasquez energized by one shot he landed 15 seconds ago. You know that this is an emotional sport as well as a tactical one. Good left hook by Best.
I think the difference in this fight is that Best has been straighter with his punches, especially his right hand. And I think just technically a little more sound. Vasquez has been kind of all over the place. And, you know, Vasquez is very demonstrative in that ring, and sometimes that has an impact, right?
Yes.
On how the judges think of what's going on in there.
He must have won. He's happy.
Yeah, and there's the right hand by Best, of which there were a number during the course of the round, and a left hook as well. From range, I thought Best did the better job in that round. And, you know, it's interesting, facing a different kind of fighter this time for Vasquez, not the attacker like Blumenfeld.
TBL fans, the winner of round 11 by way of unanimous decision from the Boston Butchers, Javon Best.
That's an important win for Best. So Boston has gotten back up by 7 and would like to carry this through for the second half of the fight. Key moments coming up. We'll tell you about it when we come back. All right, so Boston has gotten back into a good position. A lot of drama still to unfold. We'll tell you about it. Let's go back inside and pick up the action.
Round 12 at super middleweight, Boston, Edwin Hubie, Dallas, Mauricio King.
All right, so this is a time period. This was a big roll of the dice for the Boston coaching staff as they tabbed Edwin Humena Jr. and Miguel Diaz for these 2 important fights. They've already gotten 2 wins from the top of the rookie class, so to speak, with the wins at the top in round 1. But this is a huge part of the fight for Boston, and maybe most vulnerable for them.
Humane, who is 9-3-1 as a pro, from Haiti originally, and here's a key point. He is 9-3-1, but he's 0-3-1 in his last 4 professional fights out of TBL. So he's coming in here not with a winning feeling, and he'd like to get one tonight for his team.
And he's making his debut against a fighter with 23 fights in this circuit, Mauricio King. And his best win was against a 6-2 Amin Mitchell. So you've got a debuting fighter against a pretty good, just sub 500 fighter. Where is the edge going to lie? Because they will fight twice, and in the next fight, same scenario.
In looking at a little video of Edwin Humane, he is an attacker by nature, and that's what he's doing here against Mauricio King. Sometimes, you know, his attacks are not technically perfect, but he puts pressure on you. And he switches to lefty, which he just did.
There's King trying to put the pressure on.
Yeah, if you can back up pressure fighters, it helps you.
King pushes him off a third time and then lands to the body. So halfway through, a good one unfolding here in a key moment of the fight between Humane and Mauricio King.
And the hand speed and combination punching of King has really come to the forefront in the last minute of this round.
Boston did not have all of its key performers. One of them, Miguel Teo, who was fighting his best of the year. They don't have him up in that cruiserweight division here. No fight available there. So this is where they had to roll the dice and hope they could get through these next two. And that's why we've got subplot after subplot.
Humane landed some really nice body punches, but the hand speed and, again, the flashy combinations of King, I think muting that a little bit. And Humane got off to a good start in this round, but then King is kind of taking control.
King was comfortable as he pounds the body. His turnaround began when he started to push Humane off.
They banged heads, I think, there, and King got the worst of it. Good hook on the inside by Humane.
See if Humane responds to that look on his opponent. So King, in the second half of this fight, draping himself all over Humane.
And this is going to be an interesting one with them rematching, because there are adjustments, especially for Humane, that he might want to make in the second one, and even some for King as well. And here, where they clashed heads, and King got the worst. Oh, there it is. That's the one that really stunned him, and got him around the left eye. And it did not create a cut, which is very good, but it was painful. And we'll see if that mid-round surge for King gets him the decision.
TBL fans, the winner of round 12 by way of split decision. From the Dallas Enforcers, Mauricio King.
All right, so that's the first spot that Boston hits a speed bump. And here's the next one.
Round 13 at light heavyweight, Boston, Miguel Labrenz Diaz. Dallas, Ambibola Osandairo.
Diaz going against arguably the best fighter on the Dallas team. And Osandairo is 28-12 in TBL, and lately he's been on a 6-0 run against the likes of Frankie Solomon, Money Powell, Angel Lozano. He's on a 6-fight win streak, as high as 7.
And it would be an understatement to say he is an unorthodox fighter. Switches, he gets involved in a lot of grappling, and all kinds of things happen in his fights.
And he's a threat when you're lining up and handicapping. He's a threat to score bonus points on you. You see that he's on a hot streak right now.
And you mentioned Diaz, who's not fought in the TBL before. He's 2-0 as a pro with 2 knockouts. Well, actually has 1 fight in the TBL, but not this. That was back in season 2. So he is almost a brand new newcomer to TBL.
If you're Boston, you want to stay right near this spot before you have Ellis and De La Cruz coming back for you. But this is the one that you have to get through.
Yeah, and for Diaz, his last pro fight was 2025 in September, a KO win in 1 round, but she's not been super active, and that's something else she's going to have to face.
That looked like an instant replay from his last fight.
Abimbola, even mid-round, will show you some entertainment. He's an actor, and you know, he's has a storied and colorful background outside of boxing, so he's a character.
Somebody you probably enjoyed talking to on the sidelines, but would hate to fight.
Yes. And there's the jab. You know, we talk about his unorthodox style, but it's not that he can't create offense. He does. And he's got a really good jab from that left-handed stance. And he's using it very effectively in this fight. And for Diaz on the outside of it, he has just not been able to get inside where he can do some damage. And that is
he's got to stay up. That's his big situation here with a minute to go.
Abimbola looks mad at the ref or something. He walked away after he hurt Diaz. I think he could have gone after him again.
Yeah, he was vulnerable right there.
And this is quintessential Abimbola territory here. He got stuck in the ropes. That's the kind of crazy things that happen.
Could be a break for Boston with the clock running.
Good luck, Mr. Referee, trying to get this one under control.
Okay, stop. Step back now. Step back. Good. Nice and clean, guys. Let's go. Finish up.
Only Abimbola would take a moment to get a side glance at the camera.
He never forgets his marketing.
No. Good straight left by Abimbola. And, you know, Diaz landing some good counter punches as he's coming in, but I don't know if that's enough to turn this round for him. It's gritty. Sometimes it's a little ugly, but Abimbola finds ways to kind of control rounds completely. There's the nice jab by him, and he did use that punch very effectively, and there again using it, and then they get entangled in a crazy situation. That embodies Usman Dairo's career, and so does that.
The whole thing. Land a punch, don't let anything come back at you, and celebrate the fact that you haven't been hit.
Yeah, exactly, and drape yourself on your opponent, but he's very effective at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 13 by way of unanimous decision from the Dallas Enforcers, Abimbola Usman Dairo.
So the second part of the dice roll for Boston does not bear fruit as Dallas wins those 2 fights against the newcomers.
Our final medal round will be in the heavyweight division. Boston, Skylar Lacey. Dallas, Steve Garola.
Now, Skylar Lacey's role for Boston is to prevent this from being a real big hill to climb in the money rounds, as now Boston needs 2 points.
And his style against Garola would be very interesting. He does not fight on the inside. And you look at Lacey creating some points. He is a pure boxer who will throw power from the outside. But if Garola can get on the inside against him, that will be a fascinating and surprising development, because nobody does that when Skylar Lacey doesn't want you to.
And Garola is certainly trying to force his hand. He was doing a great job in his first fight tonight, then suddenly got dropped.
Yeah, the difference is Lacey has ways of moving and creating angles, and makes it really hard for a guy like Garola to do what he wants to do and get yourself in the inside. And see, look at those jabs in the straight right hand from distance from Lacey. That's something that, and then what does he do? He's clever at tying you up. He's kind of kryptonite for Garola. The other kryptonite for him is what Coffey did, which is land a big punch on the inside.
The question would be whether Lacey wants to gamble there.
Yeah.
And maybe he would do it later in the round if he thought he had the point in his pocket. But this is a very key juncture of this contest for Boston.
And the difference here is, you see, Lacey, what does he do? He holds on the middle of the ring. The other guys that we've seen Garola in, he pushes them to the ropes, and they have to try and hold there, which is harder. And you see Lacey controlling the range, landing right hands to the body, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go downstairs again.
It worked in Garola's previous fight, and there's a off-angle hook for Lacey. The key for Lacey then would be to stay in position and not get caught out of position and get caught by a wild shot, because that is what Garola throws.
Yeah, most of them from the inside, though, and that's where Lacey isn't letting him get. Garola trying to get the people outside to him to give him some support as he faces this Rubik's Cube of Skylar Lacey. This is why Skylar Lacey has 31 wins in the TBL and has never had a losing season, because he knows he is a master. He looks awkward, but you know what? He's really a master boxer.
And he's on a 19-2 run in TBL going back to last year. He's really put his best work up. He's an original. His winning streak is as high as 13. He's also had a 9-fight win streak. And all those numbers are nice and giddy for him. But what is most important for this Boston team is for him to deliver a very important point right now. If he does, they are within one of being back ahead in this playoff chase.
Well, if he doesn't, then the judges were not watching the same fight we were. So we'll see. I mean, you see there awkward action, but for the most part, it was Skylar Lacey, you know, controlling that entire round.
TBL fans, the winner of round 14 by way of split decision. From the Boston Butchers, Skylar Lacey.
Told you we had to say if.
At the end of the middle rounds, Boston leads.
So
Dallas
Boston
12-6.
does get 1 point closer, and as we set up for the money rounds, the Butchers need a +1. We said there would be drama in the money rounds. There is going to be. We'll get to it after this.
Of course, they're making it easy for me. I told them today, we had a little meeting, and I said, today we're not competing, today we're not boxing, today we're fighting.
And fighting they are with a 12-6 lead, 1 point shy of where they need to be, but in a good position as they get into the money rounds. Boston would take this spot if you gave it to them in advance. Dave Bontempo and Al Bernstein with you. Boston creeping, but we also saw quite a lot of drama in those middle rounds.
Yeah, there really were. And part of it was the two relative newcomers that couldn't quite get over the hump for Boston, that kept it right in that range of close to the 7-point victory that Boston needs.
Boston got over the hump initially. So now, how did we get here? Let's look at the story via the highlights. We will start it off in round number 2. Boston had won the first one, but that would change as Malik Clark, the Shark, with a big right hand. 2 points for Boston, and at that point, Dallas went up.
Then in round number 4, Alexi De La Cruz, who's been a star for Boston, against Jack Sambiaku. And Sambiaku was doing well in the round, but then De La Cruz got that knockdown, and that was the start of a bunch of 2-point rounds for Boston.
And Boston really started to get it going with its team leader in round 6, Rashidi Ellis, win number 39. But most important for Boston, a much-needed bonus point, and he'll go at it again, and they will need everything from the man who put it in his holster.
And then the third 2-point round in the launch rounds. Steve Garola had been getting some things done against veteran Michael Coffey, but those 2 shots to the body got a knockdown and a 2-point win for Boston.
And then Boston's big gamble did not bear fruit in round number 13. This is where vulnerable spot for them, but this is Miguel Diaz going against Dallas's best performer in Osundairo, who was awkward, who was difficult to fight. From the Boston perspective, at least their guys stayed up and did not give them a hole to dig out of, but Osundairo says, I'm liking it. So that's what it is, and I think we have quite a nice little handicapping projection going down the stretch. And what about our round to watch?
Yeah, we're going to look at round number 17, and it's especially interesting because it's Camila Pineda against Michaela Rampage. Pineda probably a slight favorite going into their original matchup, but it was Rampage that got the win. And now here's Pineda, who has been at the very heights of women's boxing, fighting even for a world title. But she's now lost 5 straight in the TBL, and her Boston team needs her to win.
Absolutely. Everything a must win in the money rounds. Let's get started and take it inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to begin the money rounds between the Boston Butchers and Dallas Enforcers. Round 15 at lightweight. Boston Alexi De La Cruz. Dallas Jack Benzoy Sambiaku.
We want a lot of drama. We have seen it. So it's going to be, when you handicap it, it will be Boston's big fighters. Can they get more than what the newcomers have at risk in the middle, because they have to go again twice? And De La Cruz has been a star for Boston so far with a couple of wins over Sambiaku.
Yeah, and one, of course, a 2-point win with that knockdown, even though Sambiaku had fought well in that round. The second round they fought against each other, De La Cruz more effective, using the jab, boxing, and still mixing in those nice straight left hands. And Sambiaku's having a really hard time cutting off the ring. Sambiaku's a good power puncher, but at 23, he still hasn't quite mastered the art of that technique of cutting off the ring effectively.
7 fights to go in the season of either the Boston Butchers or the NYC Attitude. Sambiaku trying to stalk here. De La Cruz, seen the big left hand come in. Sambiaku has answered with a big right hand, and there's a good one by De La Cruz that gets in. And you like the courage of these fighters because they have to take the risk to stand in there and deliver the long shot.
The 1-2 combination, the jab and the straight left from De La Cruz, has become a really effective tool for him in both the second fight and this one. And it's because he's upped the number of jabs he's thrown.
Sambiaku crowding, trying to get his big right hand home, and he missed, and then De La Cruz tries to make him counter. This is really going to be a sharpshooting perception by the referees, because we don't really see much going on as far as the jabbing in this round as we did in the second fight.
Good straight left again by De La Cruz, and his jab setting that up's been pretty effective, but Sambiaku is just having a hard time getting range to land his power punches.
And there's a good example of it why, as he tries to shoot it from far out, and De La Cruz was a mirage by the time he got there.
You know, De La Cruz, you see, is a 2020 Olympian representing Dominican Republic, a great amateur background, and, you know, 9 of those a pro. He just is a polished fighter, and he demonstrates that every time he's in the TBL ring, and that's why, you know, he's got all those wins this year, 12-2.
Yeah, he has been emerging week by week to the point where they look at him as a go-to. And tonight they went to him, and he has answered the call, at least in the first 2 fights and possibly in this one. Can he get a 3 spot worth 4 points for Boston?
Well, it certainly looks like he has. He fought very well in that encounter, and he and Sambiaku, unlike after the first fight where there was some testiness, not this time. And that's the combination that in the last 2 fights has been so effective. The jab and the straight left, and then the lead left hand by De La Cruz that he's landed on occasion. That's just good hand speed. It's solid technique, and for 30-year-old Alexi De La Cruz, it's likely to get him another win.
Not easy to beat a fighter 3 times in one night, but
by way of unanimous decision from the Boston
it has
Butchers,
happened.
Alexi De La Cruz.
Big fighters come up big for Boston. De La Cruz and Ellis have both delivered knockdowns and victories.
Round 16 at middleweight. Boston, Rashidi Ellis. Dallas, Dewan Johnson.
All right, so Rashidi Ellis chasing history and also trying to make separation for Boston.
I'm going to make a prediction here. If Rashidi Ellis does not add extra points, Boston is still in grave danger because of the newcomers coming up, and we don't know if Panada can beat Rampage. And you look down this list, and it might be incumbent on Rashidi Ellis to create an extra point in this fight.
I think it is. We've outlined Boston's big fighters have to put extra points up.
It's not a question of them winning. A reminder, they have to win by 7 points. So, you know, they need to have that if they're going to get into the playoffs.
This is their last really big gun where they look at it and say, okay, we know we have points, so we expect points. The other 5 fights are, you know, toss-ups, and there's 2 vulnerable fights in there for them. So, yeah, this is a mandatory bonus for Boston, you would suspect.
Yeah, and Jair Brown will be a favorite against Deontay Brown, but not a prohibitive favorite. And Ellis had Johnson hurt, of course, in their first fight and down. So he thinks he can do it, and we'll see. Good body work. And I think the body work by Ellis really was a part of getting Johnson in trouble. So I would expect him to go downstairs more as well. He's a good body puncher, Ellis.
Really digging in there well. And you're looking at a snapshot of maybe the defining moment of Boston's regular season. And can he deliver bonus points? He lands a big right hand. Here comes Ellis making his bid, and he is held off for the moment. So give Johnson credit for staying upright there. Ellis sees his opportunity, has about a minute to go, and has an opponent that's a little vulnerable, and the veteran skills kicking in. The left hook to the body, and Ellis now knows there is a chance for a bonus chance.
And look at how smart Ellis was, trying to hold on with Johnson. And Ellis moved back so he couldn't be tied up.
Ellis with a big right hand, big left hand by Ellis. Johnson able to stay up. Ellis digging for bonus points. Is this the Boston season on the line, or at least their best chance to win it? 3 left hook and uppercuts by Rashidi Ellis, trying for that elusive extra point, putting everything up there, trying to get it, and Johnson staying upright. Ellis had some excellent opportunities to get that bonus point, still going at it.
Rashidi Ellis has done everything he could to make that happen, and trying even to get the referee to step in, but Johnson showing toughness.
Well, what you like about Ellis is that he did not settle for the one. He knew his team needed it, and what you like about Johnson is he withstood that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And for Rashidi Ellis, he did all the right things to try and get the stoppage. He went downstairs to the body. He threw good combinations. He didn't allow himself to be tied up by Johnson. There was that good straight left-handed power jab that hurt Johnson. And the uppercuts, Rashidi Ellis has every punch in the arsenal. And from a technical standpoint, he's one of the best fighters in boxing and could be on the verge of his 40th win.
TBL fans, the winner of round 16 by way of unanimous decision. From the Boston Butchers, Rashidi Ellis.
Congratulations on a milestone for Rashidi Ellis.
Round 17 at featherweight. For Boston, Camilo Panetta. Dallas, Michaela Rampage.
All right, so Rampage won their first one using their height and reach. Now, if Panetta could get a split, that would be big for Boston. So these next 3 fights, a little tenuous for Boston. Can anybody step up who is not expected to win? At the moment, Boston up 8, essentially up 2.
Yeah, and of the 3, Panetta, who I think possibly could have been rated the favorite going into their first round, even though she was facing that 4-inch height disadvantage and the 7-inch reach disadvantage that just cost Rampage to land his jab. She might have been thought of as the person that could win this, but she's got to prove that in the ring.
All right, so Boston a little bit into the playoffs right now. Let's hear from the head coach. He's with Averill.
Coach, he's going a little crazy right now because of what just happened. This knockdown was a shock to the team. Coach, Boston were up by 9 points. Now this is going to change the trajectory of things. I saw you having a chat before to your team. What did you say to them?
I told them to keep their head together. They were good, but these decisions that we're getting, she stepped in her foot and on her feet. He called her a knockdown. You know, we're not going to win if we got to fight the referees and the other team also.
There's a couple tough matchups left in this tonight. What are you expecting from the remaining fighters to clinch those wins that they didn't get earlier in the night?
We just got to fight. We just got to fight, like I said earlier. We got to fight. No boxing, no competing, just fighting. We got to fight.
Yes, they do. Take us back to the ring, guys.
All right, so right now, that dynamic turn of events has Boston on the outside looking in. And, you know, we talked about Ellis needing to get that bonus point. Boston didn't count on Panetta getting dropped.
No, and I understand the case about the fact that it might not have been a knockdown, truly, but Rampage has had a pretty good round for herself beyond that knockdown. She has landed most of the meaningful punches, so she's having another good round against Panetta, and of course, because that was called a knockdown, it's likely to be a 2-point round unless Panetta can find lightning in a bottle in the last 35 seconds and knock Rampage down.
So the height and reach of Rampage has been a nightmare for Panetta because she's paid a stiff price coming in. And we were talking about Rampage earlier. fighting very tough competition now.
Yeah.
Against somebody who has not been on her best stride. She has stepped up.
And when she fought Kaylee Knight, we saw the beginnings of this. You know, it was a good effort, a solid effort by Rampage. And that has carried through to tonight. And she has delivered big time, and disappointing for Camila Panada, who's still upset about that knockdown being called. But either way, I think she would have lost this match. But of course, it could have been just a one-pointer. And that was the knockdown that certainly is in question, and the Boston folks don't think it was. Now, there were punches landed there, but it might have been a push that sent Panada down. But there's another right hand later that landed for Rampage, and it was just a frustrating night for Camila Panada.
We've seen worse calls on knockdowns.
Yeah, right. That's a good way to put it.
Round 17 by way of unanimous decision. 2 points going to the Dallas Enforcers, Michaela Rampage.
Okay, so right now, Michaela Rampage, the toast of New York. You know, a lot of NYC Attitude players and coaches
Boston,
and fans are watching.
Dallas, Mauricio King.
All right, now we get back into the replay of the newcomers for Boston. 2 fights in a row now, and both of them went against Boston in the middle rounds by decision.
Now, Edwin Humane did some good work in that previous round, even though it was won by Mauricio King, especially early in the round. When he can get inside and fight off the chest of King and land those hooks to the body, he was kind of effective. So we'll see if he can do that, or if when King started landing his combinations, will that King emerge?
And we saw King pushing off Humane and being successful in their first fight. Now it is Humane trying to push off King.
Humane is concentrating on the body a lot here early in this round, so he's trying to build on the things that he did do well in their first meeting.
There's the jab, double jab here, partially blocked, and there's the right hand that blocked King from coming right in. And this is what Humane wants to avoid, standing still and being in the corner. This is how at times he got out-muscled their first time.
Humane's using his jab very effectively in this round. He didn't do it so much in the first round. There's King with the good hand speed from the outside. It's a much closer. This is a pretty close round right now. But then Humane did better in the first part in the first round too, before King kind of took over.
Yeah, King owned that last minute, and it's really stylistically here. It's a matter of who can push whom back.
Yeah, Humane's done better. There's King with showing the hand speed, but Humane has attacked better. He's used his jab. He's thrown body punches. I don't know what the referee's involved in. I got to be honest. This referee gets involved in everything constantly, and it throws things off. Good hook by Humane. So he's having himself a good round. Oh, if he takes a point away, oh my God! Wow.
No possible way. Also, Humane doing an excellent job. And, you know, did we see warnings? Did we see them go up the ladder?
No, not at all. And one punch may have strayed behind the head, but it was not intentional, and it didn't. He showed no warnings. So this is an official getting in the way of an event in a very major way. And I don't like criticizing officials, but in this case, it is clearly the case.
Well, you take a point away in a very close match, if that's the case, or the indications seem to be that way. We'll wait for the official announcement. Meantime, right after the break, they're both coming out firing.
Now, a lot of times we've seen points taken away, and it doesn't reflect in the scorecards. So we'll see.
Little shoulder by Humane. But he does need to finish strong here.
Yeah, he's going after King, and ironically, he was doing great when all that happened against King.
Yeah, and it was his style to sort of smother, and he's being held here now.
And he was hitting King with a lot of good body shots, and
There's a headbutt initiated by King.
And King wants to hold because he doesn't want to fight on the inside. He did it well in the first fight. Oh my, Humaine's really got him in some trouble right now, hitting him with some big shots.
Well, it would be Humaine's round without the call, and we'll have to see how that plays out. And if a penalty comes, we'll see about the swing here.
Yeah, there's no question that Humaine won the round minus the penalty. And let's take a look at it. There was a punch that may have come over. Well, it did. Okay, I'll grant you that punch hit him in the back of the head. That was the only punch. He was trying to get a left hook around the ear, and it did land behind the head. There's no question. But it is not customary for a referee to take one punch and take a point away.
Especially a point so critical in a one-round fight. The same as a knockdown.
Well, you don't need to be a lip reader to know what Humaine thinks about things.
Ladies and gentlemen, round 18 has been declared a majority draw. Therefore, neither fighter gets a point.
And that is in some ways a fair decision.
Yes.
Dallas 8.
So, Boston staying alive with that decision, and we have the great drama leading into the home stretch. Boston needs one more plus. Will they get it? We'll find out. Back inside, the thrilling finish. Boston up 6, needs to win by 7. Otherwise, it's the NYC attitude in the playoffs. Let's pick up the final action.
Round 19 at light heavyweight. Boston, Miguel Branza Diaz. Dallas, Ambibola Osandairo.
Well, Osandairo trying to get things back from the Dallas standpoint back to a point where they can be spoilers against Boston. And the question is, can Diaz change his fortunes from the previous matchup? And there you see how Osandairo has been such a good point producer for Dallas.
This is very important for Boston. Keep the fighter upright. Just as we said for Ellis, it was important to get a knockout. He was unable to do it, but he tried like crazy. And now for Boston, you got to keep yourself in the hunt for the final 2 fights by not allowing a bonus point against you.
Yeah, Miguel Diaz, even if he loses this fight, as you point out, just cannot allow himself to go down. The knockdown of Panada, though obviously a hotly contested one by Boston, was a big example of that.
And also the point being deducted from Boston, and it looked like what they finally did was said, okay, Boston fighter wins the fight, then we take the point for the deduction, and it ends up in the draw.
Yeah, good left hand by Osundaro. But had they not taken the point away, which we think was inappropriate,
and Boston would have had
a victory.
Yep.
So a lot to chew on here about what's going on here. Diaz is attacking, and I guess that's good, but it also puts him in harm's way against Osundaro, who does have pop in his punches.
And a good left hand by Osundaro.
Yeah, that straight left hand by Osundaro has been a very, very effective weapon.
And what else is new? Osundaro throws an opponent through the ropes. Will we have any type of disciplinary action, or just they'll rule it a slip? Now, here's what the Boston contingent would argue. Okay, you take a point for 1 point behind the head, one punch, and here's somebody being thrown through the ropes 3 times and nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously that would be their viewpoint and not an illogical one. Good right hand.
And that is a knockdown now. The risk that Boston took has now really come back to bite them.
I guess there was a right hand in there from Osundaro. It was hard to tell in real time. The referee thought it. Just what Boston could not afford happened.
And in the final minute of the fight. So that's a key mark against Boston as it tries to catch up, and it will make other fighters have to come up with a knockdown.
Well, Diaz obviously is frustrated and disappointed. For Osundaro, will likely get another win here, and for him, it swells his season total to more than 10 points. Now there was a straight left hand in there somewhere. We'll see if we can see it here. There was a left hand in there, and that left hand may well have knocked him down.
It was a legit knockdown.
Yeah, that looks like it was an appropriate knockdown. Flash knockdown, but a knockdown nonetheless, and one that dims the hopes of Boston.
Fans, the winner of round 19 by way of unanimous decision. 2 points going to the Dallas Enforcers and Bimbola Osundaro.
All right, so he has his all-time win streak now up to 8, and that is a stake in the heart of the Boston team. Has 2 matches left.
Our penultimate money round will be in the lightweight division. Boston Herbrew Francois, Dallas Malik Samar Lark.
So from the Boston perspective, you need a win and a knockdown. In either of these 2 fights, you can't lose any of them.
And of course, remind you that Lark knocked Francois down. Francois was having a very good round in their first match, and Malik Lark was able to get that knockdown. Good job by Malik Lark, who has power in both the left and the right hand, and that knockdown created a 2-point win for him. Francois, not a big power puncher, and neither is Jai Brown, who's coming up. So the idea of getting a knockdown here, the odds are a little bit against Boston based on the personnel involved. And good right hand by Lark.
Francois loading up and taking a shot for his troubles as well.
He will try, that's for sure. And we mentioned how much he's been improving as a fighter, and he was showing that. Good right hand by Francois in the last round against Lark before he got knocked down.
And so the misfortune for Boston, 2 fighters here, and then also with Humane, in which the fighters were doing well with about 30 seconds to go and then walked into something.
Yeah, there has been so much drama tonight on every level. Knockdowns, controversy, and strange events from time to time. So we've had a lot to think about this evening as this drama unfolds. And it's what makes team boxing fun, because we don't just have boxers that are competing. We've got this team concept that at every turn makes us think about what we're seeing in a whole different way than you would normally think about boxing, right?
All the twists and turns. Boston's been in the playoffs twice and out of the playoffs twice within the same night.
Yes, right. Well put.
Good left hook there by Park. And then here we go. Final minute. Who wants to gamble?
And it's Lark doing the gambling, but he has less to lose, doesn't he? For his team anyway, in some respects. Francois landing a nice right hand. Lark has showed his power here in a couple spots in this round. And I'm not sure that Lark didn't just win this decision, which would end the hopes of Boston, even if he just won it. Pretty much end the hopes. Not
then you'd have a must knockout.
A knockdown. A knockout. Yeah.
Last fight.
And I don't believe J.A. Brown has ever scored a knockout in TBL.
And they'll say, no pressure, kid.
Yeah.
Do it for us. Ooh. Fortunately, no point taken away there for Francois for the hit on the break. And they will go to the judges.
Well, Malik Lark had himself a pretty good round. I don't know if he might well have taken that one. To further diminish Boston's hopes. Nice right hand, and both men landing some really good shots there, power punches. And that was where Millark got Francois on the ropes and did some good work. Credit to the Dallas Enforcers, just like Houston, they showed up here tonight without a playoff berth on the line.
The winner of round 20 by way of unanimous decision. From the Dallas Enforcers, Malik Lark.
So Dallas indeed has shown up, and then all the pressure now will go on J.A. Brown. Well,
our final
what could Brown do for you? Put you in the playoffs. If he can come up real big.
From Boston, J.A. Brown. Dallas, Deontay Brown.
And so to get over that 7-point hump that they need to get to the playoffs, it is going to take a knockout by J.A. Brown, who doesn't produce knockouts in the TBL.
And when you're looking at this from the perspective of the coaches, they may have been thinking, okay, this will be tight. We want to put somebody in here who will get us a win, get us a point, and try to preserve. And
now, J.A. Brown has 13 KOs in boxing outside of TBL. He's 27-year-old, but not in TBL in this one-round format. He doesn't do it, so we'll see if he can.
How hard it is to score a knockout when you have to.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is loosened up Deontay Brown.
And their first round was very close. J.A. Brown won it, but it was a pretty close fight. Now, it's interesting. Deontay Brown's not fighting like somebody that's being cautious. He's on the inside, and there he shows his movement, but he's staying in there and battling it out.
Well, it's interesting. He's not protecting a team lead. They've lost, or they would be losing the fight, but he's feeling free and loose because nothing on the line for this team.
There really isn't. That yes, they want to be spoilers, but from the total team standpoint, no, he can still, you know, and that makes Boston's situation even more difficult. Yeah, Boston is going to win this contest, but they're just not by enough.
when it's this close in the standings, you have all those what ifs and what could have beens over 8 weeks, as we heard it from Coach DeLay when Nashville could not get more than an 11-point win. And here we have a knockdown. Let's have a little bit more drama.
Well, there's a minute left for him to make it a 4-point fight.
Can he close the show? Big right hand by Brown. He'll let it all hang out now.
Well, a reminder, outside of TBL, he has produced 13 knockouts, so he's halfway there with the knockdown.
And Brown climbed the mountain for this Boston team. His opponent looks like he's all the way back there, so hey, at least it opens it up for a shot at it with 20 seconds to go.
Well, Deontay Brown recovered well, that's for sure, but he is putting himself right in the line of fire for another right hand. And Brown's trying, but Jai Brown is trying, and Deontay Brown is still firing back. That's kind of fitting, really, in a way, for the way this night has gone.
Yeah, Boston will look at easily a couple more points that they could have had in this. And for all teams, the point we started to make from Nashville coach of the night, we only fell by 8 points, and this is 8 matches, 1 point a night.
Yeah, and here's Brown, Jai Brown landing a straight right hand that gets Deontay Brown down. But it wasn't enough to really hurt him. It was a nice right hand and did put him down, legit knockdown, but it didn't hurt him enough where Jai Brown could really go after him.
But he did give his team a chance in that final minute.
TBL fans, the winner of round 21 by way of unanimous decision. 2 points going to the Boston Butchers, Jai Brown.
Missed it by that much. That will be Boston's refrain as they just miss on the playoffs. A good finishing kick. Rashidi Ellis had some good moments. The money rounds were not kind to Boston, and we'll be back with the honor rolls after this. Team Boxing League is brought to you by Balance of Nature. In boxing, consistency beats intensity. Balance of Nature supplements help you stay consistent with the ingredients of whole foods you can easily slot into your daily routine. Go to balanceofnature.com, use code TEAM, and start today. So what, might you ask, would be the star of the fight for Balance of Nature? Well, we've got a milestone and we're going to honor it.
Rashidi Ellis, with 2 wins tonight, is the second TBL fighter, along with Rasheed Brown, to get to 40 wins tonight. Scored a knockdown to boot to help his team. Literally one of the best ring technicians in the whole sport, and he showed you that tonight.
You'll see him again at the All-Star game as his team just missed the playoffs. Let's go inside and get the honor rolls. Here is Ray Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Winklepaw Casino Resort here in Fort McDowell, Arizona, your final score, the Boston Butchers 16, the Dallas Enforcers 11. Here are your 3 stars of the fight. Number 3 star, Dallas Enforcers featherweight, Michaela Rampage. Number 2 star, Boston Butchers lightweight, Alexia De La Cruz. Balance of Nature, number 1 star, Boston Butchers middleweight, Rashidi Ellis. And round of the night, round number 1 between Nayusha Nagiri and Mariguana Velinga.
Michaela Rampage, 3rd star of the night. Congratulations. I have to ask you, with a name like Rampage, how did it take you 21 years to start boxing?
Shoot. Honestly, I have a connective tissue disease, and I use boxing and MMA to help, like, my condition, like, help get limber and get my body back in order. So, and then it just ended up to me being here. So, you know.
Phenomenal story. Also, you have fought some of the toughest opponents in TBL this year after not having an amateur career. Tonight was your first knockdown in TBL. Huge. Were you expecting that?
Honestly, no disrespect to my opponent, but I was definitely trying to knock her out. You know, I was trying to get her out of there. I mean, I think everybody is, you know, so I'm just happy I got one, and then I just want to get some more, you know? I'm ready to do more.
Well, congratulations. Amazing performance tonight. Well done. Our 2nd star of the night, Alexi De La Cruz. You fought 3 fights tonight.
Yes.
You won all 3.
Yes, victorious.
The first fight you won, you got a knockdown. At that moment, your team was behind, and they had a big hill in front of them that they needed to climb. It was the momentum of your win that set your team on the upward journey. Was that...
Claro, yo me esforcé al 100%, yo di lo mejor de mí y como se pudo ver, yo salí a hacer mi trabajo y gracias a Dios hice mi trabajo.
Said, yes, I knew that, you know, I needed to come out and put on a very good performance and really pick up the pace for my team, and my focus was to go out there, do my work, and thank God I was able to go out and do it and get the knockdown.
Do you feel because of the position you were in that first fight that gave you your best performance of the night, or do you think that your opponent just got tougher as it went on?
¿Pensaste que tu oponente era más duro entre la noche que estaban pasando?
No, al contrario, yo sabía que yo le iba dominando, cada round le iba a dominar mejor porque él antes de la pelea me dijo que me iba a matar y a la hora de la pelea no lo hizo.
He said that, you know, prior to the fight, he said he was going to kill me, but I knew I was going to be able to break him down as the night progressed, and that's exactly what I did.
And you did. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Rashidi Ellis, what a big night for you tonight. Second fighter ever to reach 40 victories in Team Boxing League. Additionally, you topped the league in the number of wins for the season. Congratulations. How are you going to be celebrating?
Yeah, we're about to go out and celebrate with the team, you know, have some fun after this victory, you know.
And so your team, unfortunately, despite the win, did not make the playoffs tonight, which means that your season has come to an end. That celebration can be a big one.
Well, I think they're real good. You know, they showed out, and we did our best. You know, at the end of the day, we still got the victory tonight, but, you know, we didn't get the 7 points to go to the playoffs, so I wish that happened. But, you know, I'm proud of my team.
As you should be. Great performance tonight. Well done.
Thank you.
Guys, take us back to the ring.
All right, so what a matter of twists and turns. Boston can look at this, Al, and see so many places where they could have picked up another couple of points.
Yeah, between some of the knockdowns that they suffered and then the call in the Edwin Humane fight in which a point was deducted, there were just a number of instances where things could have broken the other way. Give Dallas credit because they kept competing all night and would not stop.
We showed up like we thought they would, and they did. Let's go through the highlights and tell the story of this. It started in the launch rounds where Boston had won the first one, but that would change as Malik Lark, a little unexpected knockdown against Herbert Francois. Francois was doing well, but Lark got him, and that was big for Dallas.
And then in round 4, Alexi De La Cruz and Jack Sambiaku, and De La Cruz scored this knockdown that made it a 2-point victory against Sambiaku to help Boston early on.
And then Rashidi Ellis would put Boston back in the driver's seat. He came out looking for Bear both times, and that one he scores the knockdown. Very critical for Boston to have its big players come up big, and that was win number 39 of the season for him.
And then what turned out to be a big pot, the third part of the power surge for Dallas. Michael Coffey, veteran heavyweight, knocked down Steve Garola to create yet another 2-point win and put Boston in a good position after the launch rounds.
Boston actually got its 7-point threshold, and then it started to go the other way on this team as one of the vulnerable matchups for Boston put a newcomer against Osin Dairo, who was cagey, who was clever, and basically, you know, is going to beat the less experienced fighters, and he had all kinds of ways to win, as he lets you know.
And then an important moment in round 16 in which Rashidi Ellis got his 40th win as a Team Boxing League fighter. And he tried desperately to get the knockout that he hoped would help his team, but he got the win and put Boston still in fairly good shape.
And it stayed that way until this difficult moment for Boston, because Michaela Rampage, her best night in TBL, that's a knockdown over Camila Panada. And that would be a 2-pointer for Dallas, and that was crucial against Boston in the money rounds.
One of the bad breaks that went against Boston. And then in round 21, Jaye Brown against Deontay Brown. He needed a knockout to win for Boston. He did get a knockdown with that right hand, Jaye Brown, but he couldn't quite close it with a knockout, and Boston did not do enough to win by 7 and get in the playoffs.
So in this league, it went all the way down to the final match, the final round to decide who got into the playoffs. And let's look at that bracket right now. It is now Philadelphia against the NYC Attitude. The 3 champions in TBL will meet in the first round of the playoffs. So now you see how it is all done there, and we'll be back to give you a look at the playoffs when we return. We're back. You take a look at the playoff picture. Philly is in the #1 spot. New York City attitude #8. That will be our next matchup on July 26th in Philadelphia. Dave Bontempo and Al Bernstein with you. And one final tag for this, because Boston sees some tough breaks tonight. And for New York, the tough break of losing to Boston with a disqualification earlier in the year.
Yeah, that was an intriguing situation and put them behind the 8 ball. But then, you know, Boston couldn't quite get the job done here this evening, and New York ends up in the playoffs. And I want to say what a joy it's been for this whole regular season, my maiden season voyage on TBL, to do it and to work with you. It's been a wonderful season.
Right back at you, my friend. We've had a great time. And now let's take a look at some of the teams and how they're going to stack up. Let us start with the Philadelphia Smoke, undefeated this year, and they will go in with a lot of talent.
Yeah, Jesse Hart, the light heavyweight icon in TBL, and the great women's team that they have with Stacia Suttles and Shaquille Ellis. That's just a very solid lineup from top to bottom, and it's the depth of this team that I think it has made them the #1 team right now in the team boxing league.
Depth of the team and of that great off-season acquisition in Stacia Suttles. So that was what's going for Philadelphia. And for Miami, vastly improved team, and they got King Kong back in the middle of the season.
Yeah, Herman Caicedo has done a great job with that team, and they have put together this team of many Cuban fighters who have added to them, and they too have some wonderful women in their fold, and Yosidel Napoles and Giovanni Estella have just been solid all year, and they've all those Cuban lefties that keep blasting away.
This is a team with a terrific differential, Miami, and that's one team that you don't want to face in the playoffs. Miami with King Kong making some major noise all season.
Yeah, adding Luis Ortiz to the whole mix, yet another flavor for Miami, and they found their heavyweight.
Okay, so they are the first two teams we're talking about. Who else do you want to take a look at for the major playoff run? How about that Vegas Hustle, another team with the Cuban Southpaws?
Boy, they have a lot of them, and they finished another great season, just like their previous season, even though they didn't get through things in the playoffs. And Martinez, who we talked about earlier, and Castro, and Dislan Ganza, and Salgado, they just have a very, very talented and deep team as well. And when they're at their absolute best, I think they are right there with Miami and Philadelphia when they're fighting absolutely at their best.
And the team that got into the playoffs this year, #4, vastly improved, and with a phenomenal women's division, the San Antonio Snipers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the women were a big part of that. Azaria Cottrell among them, and Adrian Taylor, the light heavyweight. There's Azaria and Adrian Taylor, who moved down to cruiser or down in weight and was so effective, and they're just a very, very solid team as well.
All right, so there you take a look at the final 4 teams, and let's see again how it looks. Philly and New York, the two teams that have won all of the Mega Brawls, going at it. The NYC Attitude, the defending champions, get in after scoreboard watching tonight. And we see that Miami is set, and we have Phoenix and San Antonio all set. LA ready to go. So the rematch of Mega Brawl 3 will happen in the first round this year, but always very feisty between those two teams.
Yeah, that's extraordinary when you think about it. Then in the very first round, you have a rematch of the Mega Brawl. And when you look up and down that bracket, I'll tell you, there are so many matchups like Phoenix and San Antonio, and others that just look mouthwatering. And I think Las Vegas and L.A., that's a fascinating one as well.
It really is. In New York City and Philly, New York had Philly on the ropes in the money rounds, and Jesse Hart with that first big knockout in the league this season. So before we go, final thoughts leading into the playoffs.
I think we had drama right to the end of the regular season, and and literally it wasn't the last playoff spot wasn't decided until the last fight. And I look at that bracket, and what I see is excitement.
All right, so that is how it looks from here. Thank you for joining us. What a night we had of drama as Boston needed 7 and almost got it, getting 5 of it, and the topsy-turvy ins and outs. What type of fortune went both ways? Michaela Rampage coming up big for Dallas. Well, for Al Bernstein, for Jason Moon, and for Clark, and for everybody in the truck and around the TBL, this is Dave Bontempo saying thanks for joining us. The playoffs will come next.